Hi guys, I'm Kaitlin, and today we are going to be talking about how to use a sign cutting stick. So a sign cutting stick is a tool used in tracking that allows you to find sign. It is important because it allows you to focus more on the ground and smaller details that you wouldn't really notice if you were just walking in the woods, like by all this stuff. It helps you look where you want to be looking instead of being distracted by like, oh, this flower over here. So sign is really just anything that is evidence that a person has been there. So it could be anything from change to clothing, trash, footprints. And that's what you're looking for when you're using a sign cutting stick. So what you do, you keep your eyes on the tip of the stick and wave it back and forth, and keeping your eye trained there allows you to focus in on the details. So pretty much a sign cutting stick can be anything you want it to be. It can be a PVC pipe, a actual stick that you find in the woods, or a walking stick, or really anything that is straight like a stick. So usually they're approximately like 40 inches or longer. And to make it a sign cutting stick instead of just a normal stick, you add two rubber bands or markers that you can move in order to measure stride. As you can see, my sign cutting stick is a walking stick that I just got from Walmart. And as you can see, it has measurements on here, and this right here can actually be moved. This right here can be taken off, and then it can be shortened, and this way you can measure different lengths of stride. So as I've alluded to before, there's many uses and purposes of a sign cutting stick. The first one that I'm going to talk about is just using it to search for sign in the woods, or really anywhere that you want to search for sign. So what you do, the end of the stick becomes somewhat of a pointer, and that by training your eye on the end and waving it back and forth along the ground, moving leaves out of the way if needed, it allows you to see things that may have been hidden under leaves, or that was just so small that just walking by it, like, you wouldn't really notice it as anything important. So now I'm going to give you a demonstration of how this technique can be used in the real world. So as you may have seen in that video, by using the technique of waving the sign cutting stick back and forth and keeping my eye trained on it and looking for the details and the small little things, I was able to find an ID that was hidden under some leaves. So now we're going to talk about another use for the sign cutting stick, and this is called the step-by-step method. So with this method, you're ultimately measuring the stride between two footprints in order to use that stride to find the next footprint and ultimately track someone or their steps through the woods, or really anywhere. So as I mentioned earlier, when making your sign cutting stick, you needed like two rubber bands or O-rings or markers of some sort that you can move on the stick, and that's what this is used for. So you're going to move the marker to the point where it is at the heel of the rear footprint, and then the tip of your sign cutting stick should be at the heel of the front footprint. So that is going to be the stride distance. And once you get that distance, so from the marker to the tip of the stick should be heel to heel of the footprints. You take where the marker was, you hold that over where the heel of the front footprint was, and you can move it back and forth about 60 degrees or 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock range to search for the next heel of the other footprint. Like, where's the next footprint at? So that's what that's used for. And that's going to be demonstrated right now. So the best time of day to do sign cutting is either morning or late afternoon, since when the sun is directly coming down on the ground around noon, like, you won't see things, because when the sun's low in the sky, it casts shadows, and the shadows allow you to see things that when the sun's directly above, you wouldn't really see. And then sign cutting at night is extremely possible to do that. You put a little light on the end of your sign cutting stick, and obviously it will let you see what's on the ground right there, and it will allow shadows. Natural light is obviously better, but artificial light can be better if used properly, because you can determine what it's like, what the angles are, and like use what works for you best. So I'll leave you off with a little tip. This may be your only chance to search for sign, and the sign may disappear after. So you need to take your time in order to not miss anything. You let your eyes dictate your speed and not your feet. So I hope that helped.